Well, it looks like we might have a nice sunrise this morning. I think it's due to break the horizon in about, I'm guessing 7-8 minutes. And if it's spectacular, I'll run it at the end of today's episode, if I remember. Now, I did come back to the model table last night, and I did finish these off, which you are going to see in the rollback. So let's roll back. Now, I'm doing this segment first because I want to get the new element in the stove, so in case I want to use it, although I don't know why I don't have any pizzas or anything like that, but you can see that the new element is much smaller than the old one. Now, I knew that it wasn't going to be the same size, but I wasn't too worried. Now, I suppose I should have done a better job of preparing for this take. Okay. And I would imagine it might be a good idea to take this piece of paper off of the element because it's going to get like red hot. Now, the wattage is the same. They both rated at 3,000 watts. That's a little disconcerting to me because that means that in order for this one to produce 3,000 watts of heat, it's got to get hotter than this one because this one, the old one, is much bigger. So does that mean that this one, the new one, is going to burn out faster? Now, mind you, it'll probably outlast me anyway. So I think this is the third time now I've replaced this in over 40 years. So, like I say, now a concern I did have was that the screws that are in the old one, I thought I was going to have to use in the new one, because the photo that I saw on Amazon of this one did not show that there were screws, but you can see that it did supply screws, so that's a bonus. Now, I didn't measure it yet, but the holes that were used in the stove were this one here and the matching one on the other side. Okay, so now this one here doesn't, it's only got two places that you can put a screw, unless you drill it out, which I might have to do. But if the spacing happens to be the same, then we're in business. Now, I haven't measured it yet. Let's just, where's my caliper? Okay, like I often say, it's a good thing I can edit out the dead spots. Okay, let's just go from the center to center here. Alright, that's about it. Now what do we got on this one? That's the same. So I'm not going to have a problem. Another thing that I was concerned about is the new one going to stick back into the stove so far that the thing is going to be touching the back of whatever. But I can see that, if anything, it's shorter than the old one, so we don't need to worry about that. Now, I don't think I'm going to beat this to death. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the stove and get it over with. It's just that in yesterday's episode I mentioned that I was going to show it, so okay, I showed it. Looks okay to me. Okay, what do I want to remember to mention right now? Well, first of all, the wax pencil worked just super for picking the seats up and setting them on the edge here. And I basically did all the other 7 seats the way you saw me do the first one, except for the ones that went immediately underneath this bar. I just couldn't do it by doing the upside down method. So I had to use a pair of tweezers and very carefully put them on and I dropped it a couple of times. It was a little bit, you might say, frustrating, but I just kept at it until I got it. Now, this CA, I use CA medium. Now, it turns out that this CA medium has evaporated. I've got to add some more thin to it to make it medium, because right now it's thick or maybe worse. Yeah, so that's the CA that I used. I did break off one of these things again. I just couldn't believe it when I did it. But I glued it back on, and I glued it back on with our medium, which is now thick. Okay, I'm going to let this cure overnight. Oh, speaking of curing, what I would do is I would straighten the seats, and then I think because I had used the thicker CA, it slowly slumped out of place. So I straightened them all four of them on one of the units, and then I used the curing agent to sort of instantly freeze them in place, you might say. So I don't like to use the curing agent unless I have to, and I guess I sort of had to. So there are little tiny micro hairs, smaller than a spider's web, just from when I put the C on, and I'd pull it away, and there would be a little bit of a thread forming there, and sometimes it would sort of snap back and disappear up against the pedestal of the seat bracket, and sometimes it wouldn't, and it would be just sort of floating around in the air. Just so I'm going to have to wait until this completely cures, and then just take a little paintbrush and go around them before we actually, use the airbrush on them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them in a tin, the same way we did our other parts, and then tomorrow morning we'll get at our anti-aircraft guns that we have to make 6 of. Anyway, that's it for this evening, folks. What do we got here? 18 minutes after 9 already. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun. And I was having fun. Now, I haven't been at it for the last 3 hours steady. I've been doing other stuff in between. Yeah, okay. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, it is morning. And I'm going to try not to spin this too fast. I know sometimes I have a tendency to move stuff a little bit too fast in the scene. Yeah, and then consequently a person doesn't get a chance to really look at it. Anyway, when you're moved in real close like this, and I've said this probably 100 times now over the last 3 years, you can see all the little flaws and details. But I really do believe that if I get this painted a shade of gray, and then maybe highlight the seats and possibly the gun sight, and maybe whatever that bar is with a different shade of gray, or maybe something else altogether, I don't know, maybe black, I think it's at arm's length, it's going to look really good. Now, like I say, when we're moved in really close like this, we can see that some of the seats aren't exactly straight and stuff like that. Now, I know I have a tendency to find fault with my stuff, but I think every modeler does that. You see the flaws, and you think to yourself, I could have done that better. And it's true. If I got to do the exact same thing again, chances are I would do a better job. On the other hand, I might break it all altogether, and you know how it goes. Sometimes you think you're improving on something and you're not. Anyway, let's move on to our guns and see if we can at least assemble one on camera. Okay, I admit it, I've got sidetracked. Today is pizza day. I don't have any pizzas in the freezer. But what I do have is chickpeas in the cupboard. Now, I remember one time when I was going to see my mom in Kelowna, and I was on the bus, and we stopped at a bus stop, and I bought a package of what I believe was roasted chickpeas. And I remember thinking, they're really good. Now, they were really salty. Now, what I've done here is I've taken a cup of chickpeas, and I've boiled them in water for about 6 minutes or so that they're cooked. And then I mixed about a tablespoon of olive oil in with the, drained them of course, and then mixed in some olive oil. And I put some allspice and some pepper, but no salt. Now, and then I put them in the oven for about 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. I had to put the thermometer, the timer there to remind me to say that. I almost have to make notes. Anyway, so how are they after 20 minutes in the oven? Well, they actually taste pretty good. The texture is, you might say, a rather crunchy nut. It's kind of almost like trying to eat the old maids when you're making popcorn. Well, it's not quite that hard, but it's they're very crunchy, and because there's no salt, they don't taste as good as they probably could. But I like that sort of thing. So anyway, this is what we got for Pizza Day, and now let's get on with the model here. Yeah, they're crunchy, all right, but they taste pretty good. Okay, I have cleaned up one of everything we need to make one gun. And a moment ago I was thinking it's identical to the ones we made for the hood, except that what happened was I realized that we have to get a little piece of photo etch here, photo etch C15, and it has to go in between the magazines. When you put the magazines in glue them in on the sides, in between has to go this C15. And then I was thinking, about how they were the same as the ones for the hood, and then I was remembering that when we did the ones on the hood, there was sort of a photo etch tray that we had to glue right in the front here was sort of like a catch tray, and the empty shells would land in this thing, and then they would just go scooting out onto the deck. I had actually seen a photograph of that, and they sort of a funny way to do it. It was kind of, you would have thought they would have had something better than just having them bouncing around on the deck, but that's what they did. And so let's just sort of recompose here. Well, I guess first of all we better get those C15s, and then we'll get going here. Yeah, we got the cooking segment out of the way, so let's move on. Now, I wasn't going to mention this because it's not, drastically important, and it doesn't mean that because Trumpeter made this mistake, people aren't going to be able to complete their build or anything like that. But when I was looking at this sheet, well, instantly you see these parts that we need here. Maybe I'll just move in a little bit. Okay, so these are the ones that they're calling 15, but they're not. They're 5. 15 is actually down here. We've already used it, and so on the manual here they've got photo etch C15, and then right here photo etch C15. They meant 5. Not a big deal. I just thought you might want to mention that. But there is something on this number 5 that I do not remember on the ones we made for the hood. Either that or I didn't see it, and I nipped them off, and it is really tiny. I'll have to use the macro lens for this. Just bear with me here. Okay, so here we are with our C-15/5s. And you notice this little gun sight right here? I do not remember those when we made this. Well, I was going to say exact same gun, but obviously it's not exactly the same. I don't even remember having to put this photo etch disc in between. But then the Rodney that we're building right now is a newer kit with Trumpeter, and it could be that when they made the hood, they didn't have this little detail in here, but it would be so easy to accidentally cut right there. Guess I didn't tape my my photo etch sheet down very good, but it's sliding around. Anyway, we'll just do one on camera. I have to get a dozen of these. Okay, I'm getting in the light here, but I think probably the auto ISO is going to take care of that. And one more. Okay, now I imagine what we do is, after we get this mounted on the gun, on the part, we have to turn this gun sight 90 degrees, because I think the idea is you would be looking along the edge here. There'd probably be something else on this corner that they haven't molded in there, and you'd probably look from right here through the sight. At least that's what I would think. Okay, so we got one. I'll get the others later. Okay, when I was nipping this one off, I thought I was nipping off this one. So in that case, I'm going to redo this. It didn't go pop, but I'm sure we cut through. I'm pretty sure we cut through. Yeah, we did. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to get in your light. Now, that one we heard, didn't we? And the last one. Okay, there we go. Now, what I wanted to say here was, remember I was talking about maybe brushing this, using a paintbrush instead of the airbrush. And something like this, well, possibly if I used, I think it was UK Jason did a thing on dry brushing, and it's possible if I used his technique, I might be able to brush something like this and not have it completely fill in. But I don't think I could. I think it probably would end up all these little tiny, delicate little things that I'm sure we'll still be able to see if we use the airbrush. That is, if we put the macro lens on, for goodness sakes. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I've, changed my mind about paintbrushing the entire Rodney instead of using a combination of both. I'll probably end up doing 90% or more of the Rodney with the airbrush, because there's just so much detail like this that we don't want to lose. Okay. Okay, I'm trying something a little bit different here. I may not ever do this again. On the other hand, it might turn out to be something we can use, a procedure that we can use, that is. Right here, there's a little black mark on the table. And the idea is if I can keep everything in this, after I zoom in this area, you should be able to see it. Because right now the camera is about 24 inches. Well, it's this, the front of the lens is this far away from the subject. And that is after I zoom in. So yeah, let's just see what happens here. Let's just, okay, first of all, we need, okay, 28 and 31 go together. So here's a 28, and here's a 31. They go together. And then 30 and 29 go together. Okay, so we got those ready to go. All right, let's zoom in here. Okay, now this peg here goes into this right here. So that must mean that this peg has to go into this hole. Let's just do a dry run here just to make sure. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks like I have to aim the camera down just a little bit. Okay, that might be better. Well, I think we're safe to go ahead. No, it's not going to take a lot. Okay, I'm going to push stop here and give this a chance to meld. Otherwise it's going to end up coming apart on us. Okay, about 10 minutes has passed here now. I think this is probably safe to work with. And I'm going to try and orientate it. I know you can't see the manual, but I've got one eye on the manual here. And alright. Now this one here will, if I turn this on its side like this one here goes on the lower section. Like this. Except that we have to have a piece of photo etch. Just a moment here. Alright. Now it has to go with the little sight is going to end up being at the front. So it has to go like this. Okay. I'm looking straight down on it now. And this might be one of those situations that's going to be kind of hard to do on camera. Maybe I could hold it better in my fingers here. I'm just doing a dry run. Yeah, okay. And then the other one, I had thought that these two pieces got glued together, sort of like the guns that we put together, but they don't. There's a space in between the two. Like that. Okay, so I can see that's gonna fit. I don't have to pare anything down to make it work. My voice is starting to go here this afternoon. Yeah, it's too bad that this plastic is being separated by the photo etch. Very carefully put this one like this. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just leave this one in here so that it keeps the photo etch piece lined up. And then we will take our extra thin here and drop some in the hole. I want to get enough so that when the peg drops in there, it's going to start to dissolve. Now the detailing goes up. There we go. Alright, now if I'll do the same thing with the other one, maybe I'll turn it so you can see it. Sorry about that. Oh. I guess I put so much on there that it just flowed right across. Well, let's just straighten these out now, because it appears that, yeah. All right, it appears that we've got both of them sort of glued in there. Now I gotta really be careful here that I don't bend this little gun sight. They're not quite straight. I'm looking straight down on it. And just push them in here. All right, let's give that a chance to dry out. Probably I'm going to give it about 10 minutes at least. Okay, how many people were screaming at their computer? Ron, you got the gun sight upside down. You got it pointed towards the base. And I did. The stop part was flipped over and was coming out the bottom. Well, obviously I've seen it and I've changed it around. Then I got it all plugged back together the way I thought was right, and then I realized that not that it's going to make a whole lot of difference, but these two were reversed, so I had to switch them around. I'm pretty sure I've got it right now. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what makes this hobby fun, right? That's what makes it fun. All right, let's just give it a couple of minutes. Okay, clearly I have repositioned here, and I did accidentally bend one of the little gun sights a little bit, but I don't think it's going to affect anything when we give it its final tweak. I think I got those magazines fairly straight. I think we're probably at the place now where we can okay. So this is the front, so it's got to go like this. and it looks like it sits at a bit of an upward angle. Yeah, I can't pick it up by the photo etch, and well, let's just take it out. Oh, went before. Maybe I only thought it went. Oh, you know what? That photo etches, a little photo etch piece is catching there, isn't it? Maybe I only thought it went before. Oh, now I'm bending the magazines. I guess it wasn't quite. Well, let's what is wrong there? See if we can loosen that a little bit. Here, it's on the outside now. I don't know if you could see what was happening there, but okay, now I think if I push down, it should seat itself. No, it's not. What is the problem here? Do I have this backwards? No, I don't have it backwards. It has to go this way. I'm just trying to soften the plastic so it'll squish, if you know what I mean. I hope I'm not going to have this problem with the other 5. Probably because I'll be doing them off camera. It'll maybe go a little better here. Why is this not going? You know what? I just realized it's not supposed to go all the way down. It's not supposed to go all the way down. It's supposed to, that's sort of supposed to rock like that. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what? I remember that now from the hood. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's just leave it. The idea is that you're supposed to be able to position it whatever way you want. Let's just have it like that. All right, now let's straighten out these. Oh, I'm bending over one of the gun sights too. Straighten this up just a little bit here. Okay. We'll let that cure. Now, I don't know if I can straighten this or not. We're going to have to twist it 90 degrees anyway before we paint it. That's basically it. I'm obviously not going to try to do the other ones on camera. I think what we're going to do is we're going to call this episode a day, and I'll probably work on it later on this evening, but that'll be in tomorrow's episode. So thanks for watching, everybody, and all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.